So don't you tell me I am selfish just because I look out for myself. I've been happy, working hard, so I won't have to cry when I'm older. I could have done this or that. I remember when I...
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, One Physical Therapist Assistant. Oh, man, thanks for stopping through, y'all. It's good to see you again. Another fine day with the legends of America, y'all. Another fine day with the legends. Oh, man. I had a lady today who told me that I remind her of the song called The Wanderer. You familiar with The Wanderer? I wasn't familiar with The Wanderer until I looked it up. And I said, oh, I know that song. I told you, they got the best music from way back then, man. Back in the day, they got the best music. You know the song, The Wanderer. I'm a wanderer, something wanderer. I wander round and round and round. Y'all know that song, right? Hope y'all know that song. But anyway, she asked me, because I told y'all I'm always like a new face. I like being a new face to people. People meet me now. They be like, oh, I haven't had you before as a therapist. Who are you and where are you from? And I be telling them, I'm like, I work what's called PRN. I work as needed. So I don't work here full time, but I'll be around from time to time. And I work different places across the state and the next state over. And you know what she said to me? She was like, oh, so you're like the song called The Wanderer. Now, I didn't know the song by name, The Wanderer. I was like, what, The Wanderer? She said, you know that song, don't you? I said, I don't know, maybe. So I looked it up, and it was that song. I'm the wanderer, the something wanderer. Y'all probably know that song. But anyway, she said, I remind her of that song. I just wander around. I'm like a happy wanderer. I wander around from place to place helping people out. I said, yeah, I actually do. I said, that should be my theme song. I wish I could play it on the YouTube channel, but I can't do that. I might get a copyright strike. But she said I remind her of The Wanderer. I thought that was pretty cool. So now sometimes I'll be singing that song to myself. 'Cause I'm the wanderer. But anyway, y'all, I hope y'all doing good today, man. It's starting to feel good. I think it got up to close to 70 today, y'all. Oh. But today, it's gonna be a little bit serious, y'all. A little bit serious. No, not serious, but I'm gonna explain to you why, in part, I started this YouTube channel. Now, I didn't start this YouTube channel because I read this book. I started this YouTube channel before, but it's a part of this book that like literally coincides with legit why I started this channel. First of all, I gotta tell you about this book. I told you I've been reading this book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Well, the one I'm reading is called The New Confessions. I think it's been updated. So The New Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So it's a good read. It's a deep read, but it's a good read. But it talks about this man who, back in the day, worked for the CIA. I don't know. He worked for some entity, some private entity in America. And his responsibilities were to go to different nations, go to different leaders, go to different various parts of the world, and to blatantly put it, cripple them to our demands, meaning to make them cater to us in a way we needed them in order to take control of their resources, take control of whatever they had that we wanted. The United States of America, yes, we did a lot of pillaging and plundering, and he was one of the people they called economic hitmen, EHMs. He was one of the people that was tasked with going to do these things in various different parts of the world. It's a good read, man. He's like one of those people that are out there that you don't know about, but they're doing things behind the scenes for the propping up of the United States of America. And there's still some out there. He's called an economic hitman. There's things called people called jackals. I can't remember. I have to read more above it. But he talks about, jackals. There's jackals too who do the same thing. And let's just say they did some shady stuff. They did some shady stuff with bribes, and it's a good read. It's a good read. However, in going towards the end of his career, he had a change of heart. He's seen some of the damage he's caused throughout the world with pollution and leaving people disenfranchised and leaving people, leaving populations messed up because he had to bribe their leaders when their leaders may have been trying to do what's right for their people, but we might have needed them to do something different that we wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? It's a good read, man. But towards the end of his career, he started having a change of heart. He started having a come to Jesus moment where he looked back at the stuff that he did, and he's not proud of what he did, even though he, lined the pockets of a lot of powerful people in America. He sought interests of some of the corporations in America, some of the powers that be, politicians and things like that. He helped further their cause and build wealth for them and the country. But he looks back and he looks at all the problems he caused throughout the world, and it's like he's not happy about what he did. So he wrote this book to talk about some of the things he did. And towards the end of this book, he is now wanting to do better. He's now wanting to change things. And he talks about how we are in a quote unquote deaf economy. A deaf economy. Now, what's a deaf economy? Let me see if I can find it. According to John Perkins, I'm at a red light so I can read. According to John Perkins, a deaf economy is an economy that thrives on the exploitation of resources, often leading to environmental destruction with the oppression of the vulnerable populations. So it oppresses people wherever they live at. It destroys the environment in order to prop up another economy. It's based on systems that create warfare or the threat of warfare. This is what he calls a deaf economy. So you rule over these countries with the threat of warfare. That's why we have what's called the military complex. I think Eisenhower quoted that phrase, the military industrial complex. He says that it prioritizes profit over well-being, for short-term gain, for corporations or the wealthy. But it creates long-term pain for the oppressed and the planet. You hear what I just said? It prioritizes short-term gain and wealth for the wealthy and corporations, but it creates long-term lasting pain for the oppressed, poor, and the planet. That's what he calls a deaf economy, and it's unsustainable. He talks about this. It's an unsustainable model. Unsustainable model. I told you that a lot of people in power don't think about the future selves. They worry about the greed for themselves, but they don't think about the future. Their children, grandchildren, the next generation to come, or the planet. Feel what I'm saying? So in doing this, it's made him want to have a quote unquote life economy. That's an economy that's, more sustainable. That's an economy that focuses on, societal justice and love and abundance for everybody, not just for the few. You feel me? So, in theory, it's a good thing. But he wrote this book a long time ago. And to be honest with you, we ain't got no... I don't know when this book was written, but to be honest, to keep it real, we ain't got no better. We have not learned from our mistakes. But he is calling people to action. And one of the things he's doing is calling the average person, you and me. He's calling the people who may be close to retirement. He talks about asking you to think about the industry you worked in. He says, I don't know what industry you worked in, but think about the industry you worked in. And he said that working in that industry, he knows that you saw bad things in that industry. He knows that you've dealt with fraud and corruption in whatever industry. You name the industry. I don't care what you in, the restaurant, packaging, delivery. I don't care. I work in healthcare. Okay? Yes, I've seen a lot of corruption. Yes, I've seen a lot of fraud in our healthcare system. Okay? And he is saying that if you have seen that and have learned that and have come to understand that, he is asking people to, be like I want to say a voice, but he's saying, it's good that we teach other people about some of the things that we see. Because if we don't share what we see, if we don't share the things that need to be fixed or worked on in our various environments, our various jobs, the places of employment, if we don't share, then the cycle just continues. The deaf economy just continues, which props up profits, doesn't really help people. And our healthcare system is a big example of that, y'all. It's a big example of that. All right. So he encourages people to talk about these things, write about them, talk about them, blog about them, because otherwise the problems ain't going to get fixed. So I'm like, dang, yo, I'm listening to him. I'm like, dang, is that why I started this channel? I did think about starting this channel to share lessons, to share some of the history and things that I learned from the older adults. But I also want to highlight some of the issues going on in our healthcare system that need to be fixed, that need to be corrected, that need to be worked on. You feel what I'm saying? That need to be addressed. Y'all know I talk a lot about the food. Y'all know I talk a lot about, some of these places need to be worked on, renovated. So I'm like, dang, he is talking about why I started this channel. So I'm encouraging y'all. I know a lot of people in their, 30s to YouTube tells me I got like a middle-aged audience, people who like to watch the channel. Y'all got some responsibility too here. I know y'all see things that need to be worked on in whatever various industries you work in or participate in. He is encouraging people to, focus on a life economy instead of a deaf economy. And I know you got to get yours. I got to get mine too. Everything is crazy right now. But he talks about how it's an unsustainable model. And I definitely believe that. Like, you think about our healthcare system. Let me share something with y'all about our healthcare system. This is the thing that baffles my mind a lot. I work in nursing homes, right? Okay, so I work in nursing homes. A lot of the patients are there with their stays being covered by Medicare, right? Okay. Do you know how much it costs for a person to be in a nursing home bed each day? Huh? You can take a guess. What do you think? Every single day to be in a bed, in a room with a roommate, little TV, little remote, 3 meals a day with food off the Cisco truck. You know the Cisco truck that used to come to your elementary school and your middle school. That's the food that they get in the nursing homes, right? The Cisco truck food. Same stuff. How much you think it costs per day for a patient to be in there? Your medications and stuff. The last time I checked, anywhere between $400 to $500 a day. Let me say that again. For anybody in the back that didn't hear me. It costs about $400 to $500 per day that their Medicare is being charged. Now, let's just pause for a second and hold that thought. $400 to $500 per day to be in a nursing home with Cisco truck food and short-staffed conditions. If it costs $400 to $500 per day in 2025 today, right? What do you imagine? What do you think it will cost in 55, 65, 45, when a person like me might need the services? When a person like me might need the services. My back gonna be hurting when I get older. I'm gonna suffer from chronic back pain. I might have some trouble walking. I might need a nursing home bed or an acute care bed. How much is it going to cost per day off of Medicare? Hear me out. Off of Medicare, that's probably going to be cut down. Off of Medicare, that's probably going to be less than what people are getting today. Think about that for a second, yo. $400 to $500 per day today. I'm sorry, I'm stopping at the New Balance store. $400 to $500 per day being charged to Medicare for your grandma to be in a nursing home. That's how much they're charging Medicare. And to be honest, I benefit from that because that's what pays my salary. And it's a good salary, even as an assistant. But that's how much they charging. Now, what do you imagine it's going to be 20, 30 years from now? Come on, bruh. The math ain't mathing on that. The math ain't mathing on that, especially if Medicare has to be cut. Especially if Medicare has to be restructured in some kind of way. Medicare has to be restructured, yes. But those charges probably ain't going to be restructured. Those charges probably going to go up. So this is what he's talking about, where these corporations are not just focused on profits, but focused on the people. This is our healthcare system, man. Our healthcare system is bankrupting people as we speak. So it behooves me to tell y'all about some of these things, talk about some of these things, to encourage y'all to, take care of your health, think about your future self, because I see it. I see, people get kicked out of a nursing home because their Medicare ran out, but they still need to be in there for rehab. See it all the time. But he's encouraging us all, He's encouraging people, anybody who reads the book, to, highlight some of these issues in the corporations that we work for and the things we see in our society, because it ain't going to get no better. It's just going to get worse and worse. And it has gotten worse and worse since he wrote that book. So I'm encouraging y'all to, start your blog, start your YouTube channels, talk about the things you see and what needs to be improved. Because if we don't share what needs to be improved, it won't be improved. Can't improve something, can't fix a problem if you don't acknowledge that there is a problem. So, interesting read, y'all. Interesting read. Talks about the life economy. And I wholeheartedly support a life economy. An economy where we're looking out for each other, not just looking out for profits. Here's what he says about the life economy. The life economy focuses on well-being. A life economy prioritizes the well-being of all living beings, including humans and animals and the environment. This is very wishful thinking. It shifts the focus from maximizing profits to maximizing the quality of life. Sustainability. It emphasizes sustainable practices that ensure the long-term health of the planet. That includes reducing pollution, conserving resources, and promoting renewable energy. Social justice. A life economy seeks to create a more equitable society where everyone has access to basic necessities, healthcare, and opportunities. It addresses issues such as poverty, inequality, and discrimination. Regeneration. It promotes the regeneration of ecosystems that have been damaged by past economic practices. Corporations that were just focused on profits of the past, they have done major damage to our planet, to our air. You feel me? I live in the state of Delaware. Some say that there's some areas of high rates of cancer. I didn't learn that till I moved to Delaware. Apparently, some of the corporations have caused some areas to be high levels of cancer areas. I still need to do more research on that because that's weird. Also, values-based. It's driven by values that promote the public good rather than private profit. Promotes the public good rather than private profit. I'll never forget, y'all, I read a study. I like reading studies. I read a study, and I think it was a scientist. They did a calculation. This is the United States of America, right? And the calculation was, if every human being on planet Earth, I don't know, we up to 9 billion, close to 9 billion. If every human being on planet Earth lived the average life of the average American, we would not have a planet Earth. A studies put it somewhere like that. What do we have in America? 480 something million, I don't know, close to 500 million people. And the average American lives a certain lifestyle, consumes a certain amount of resources, food, energy, produces a certain amount of waste. If everybody on the planet lived the average American life, live the life that I live or you live, if everybody on the planet lived the average life that you live or I live, we wouldn't have a planet. We don't have enough resources, food, energy to sustain everybody living the average American life. That's crazy. That is crazy. But this is what he talked about in the book. So y'all, just a little informational video. I just wanted to share that with y'all because, you know, I could get on here and I could talk about some of the craziness going on in our healthcare system. And there is a lot. There's a lot that I actually see. And at some point, yes, I'm going to share some of the things that really majorly need to be fixed. But I wanted to make this channel a little bit more positive. You feel me? But I do have to share some of the stuff that needs to be improved in our healthcare system. Some of the stuff that I see. Not even a few days ago, hear me out. Not even a few days ago, I had a therapist. She's fairly new. She's young. She's in her mid-20s. You know what she said to me? She's one of my colleagues. She's really cool. Nice therapist. She told me that we were talking about things that we see in healthcare, working in nursing homes with the older adults. She said, Ivan, she said, I'm gonna be honest with you. She said, I want to retire from life no later than 80 years old. Said, what? What did you say? She said, that's right. I want to retire from life. I don't want anymore. She said, I don't care what's going on with me. She said, I've seen enough from the older population, from the care that they get, from the things that they deal with, that when I hit 80, I want to be done. I don't want to go anymore. She said, even if I develop cancer and they tell me I got 5 years to live, she said, I don't want that 5 years based off of what I see that 5 years being like with our healthcare system. Isn't that crazy? She's in her 20s saying this. Don't want to go past 80. I'm like, man, when you start hearing the young people talk like that, it's like, yo, we are not setting them up right. They shouldn't be talking like that. She shouldn't be talking like that based off of what she sees. So we got to make it right. We got to improve it. But anyway, y'all, I wanted to share that story with you, man. Well, not story. I wanted to share, you know, one of the reasons why I started this channel. And like I said, I didn't read this book before I started the channel. But now that I'm reading it, I'm like, you know, that sounds like some good stuff. So maybe this motivates you to start a YouTube channel to talk about the things you see in your profession that need to be fixed, that need to be corrected, that need to be worked on to make the world a better place. But anyway, y'all, it's your boy, One Physical Therapist Assistant. I really appreciate y'all coming through. Great running the New Balance store because I'm a New Balance guy. I'm out the outlets right now. I'm just ready to go check it out. I'm not doing a bunch of shopping. Just ready to go see what they got because I got a little free time. One of my patients went out to the hospital. So I'm left with a little free time. I might get me some Thai food and gonna go check out the New Balance outlet. So y'all be cool, be safe, change the world, and I will holler at y'all in the next video.
So don't you tell me I am selfish just because I look out for myself. I've been happy, working hard, so I won't have to cry when I'm older. I could've done this or that. I remember when I used to. Don't do it cause it doesn't work. I'd rather tell her, shoot your shot